What's going on, everybody? I'm Coach Co from Coach Co Collectibles. For those of you who don't know who I am, I run a sports card news as well as content channel specifically on TikTok. And we are going to be going through some of the features of Sports Cards Pro. In today's video, we are going to be looking up some of the hottest players and finding out, are their cards undervalued? Are they overvalued? Is there an area of opportunity, especially leading up to the basketball season? There's been a few prominent NFL injuries. So let's dive into this today. We are going to be starting off on the Sports Card Pro website. All right, as you can see here, I've got a popular card up on the screen. This is a Mac Jones. For those of you who don't know, Kaboom inserts are very popular because they tend to be a shorter printed version of their rookie card. I mean, at least if they're in the rookie card season, such as this one. So we have a 2021 Panini Absolute Kaboom. We've got the Mac Jones here. Mac Jones recently got injured. The Patriots aren't doing very well currently. And we want to know where his prices are in comparison to where they've been. Maybe that's an area of opportunity. I don't know. I won't be giving you that information, but I will be giving you as much information for you to formulate your own opinions. And that's kind of what it's all about. Using this information, using these tools to generate your own opinions and to make constructive arguments as to whether or not this is a buy or is a sell or a hold. So if you look at the chart right here, what we've got is the ungraded graph. We're going to show you how to pop a bunch of other things up on this chart as well. So that's another thing that we're going to run through today. But if we look over here, this card was selling for back in November of 2021. So essentially 12 months ago, almost. For $2,389. And if you look at where it's at currently, October 2020, we're sitting at about $984. So you already have more than a 50% drop off in price for this card. What we're going to do is we are going to include PSA. Well, we're going to include all nines. So what we're going to do is we're going to click off that 9 feature. We're also going to click off the BGS 9.5. We are going to click off the PSA 10 as well. So what we've got now is several not so great looking charts, or rather lines on this chart. So we see here the PSA 10s, $11,000 back in November. They got as high as, looks like $12,000, $13,000 roughly was their high. Fast forward to season, off season, they're down to about 4,500. They got as low as $2,700 back in July. I lied. $4,500 back in July. And that's kind of where they're at currently. So there hasn't been a big dip in terms of the PSA 10 values, probably because there's not a ton of population of them that exist. BGS 9.5, there's also a downward slope, as you can see here. Not quite as drastic of a drop-off as that PSA 10, right? So some things, conclusions that I would come to, it's not necessarily that the BGS 9 is a little bit of a safer bet. I would probably come to the conclusion that the pop on the PSA, or on the BGS 9.5 rather, is probably a little bit lower than the PSA 10, and as a result of that, not as many of them have sold. So you can draw a few conclusions from this information, whether those are hardcore conclusions or whether they're just hypotheses. At the end of the day, information gives you more of an opportunity to make these educated guesses. And essentially, that's what you're doing when you're buying and selling sports cards. You're making educated guesses, not only on players, but on, is this the right time to buy? Is this the right time to sell? And like I said previously, clicking off those, PSA 10, BGS 9.5s, like making sure that these are clicked off gives you even more information, and information is king here, team. So, like I said, another thing that we can talk about with respect to this chart is the PSA 10s were released. I mean, they probably got graded fairly quickly after this set debuted. And as a result of that, they were probably a pretty hot commodity. So the one thing I would suggest is to maybe hold off a little bit, even if you really want this card. You know, if you were one of the few people to buy this card after it had been graded, you're paying $13,000 for this card up until about June, where it dropped to about $4,500, right? So you have almost 2/3 of that price drop off if you just wait a few months. So if there's a card that you're looking for and you know it just came out and everybody wants it, if you hold off a few months, it's entirely possible that you might be able to snag that card for significantly cheaper. And I think that's personally worth it. Like, I mean, if you look over here, an ungraded copy back in November was selling for $2,389. A PSA 10 copy now is about $4,500. So it's, you know, almost 2 times your money. But you know, at least you know what you're getting. You know what the grade is going to be, and then you can be like, okay, if I believe in him at this point, you know, if you're a believer in Mac Jones, prices have probably never been better to buy him. Now, I'm not saying that you should, but I am saying that, like, if you were a believer in Mac Jones before, I mean, these are the kind of dips you're looking for, right? We're going to go into another player, very hot right now, actually. We're going to opposite ends of the spectrum. A hot player right now that I find a lot of people talking about, at least, is Zion Williamson. Now, if we look at this chart, and again, this is not investment advice. I'm not telling you who to buy. I am merely talking about market sentiment and what I see people talking about. A lot of people are talking about Zion. Now, if we look at the last 6 months, and that's what we zoomed into, okay, we clicked 6 months, boom. So if we look at the last 6 months, Zion's prices have gone from, in April, $307. This is for a silver, by the way. This is for his silver ungraded rookie 2019 prominent set we all know and love. May got down to $257. And now we're sitting at about $353. Okay. So if you were to buy this card back in May, I mean, you probably would have made $100 on this so far. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is, just like with the last video, we are going to add in some important information here, including BGS 95s. I'm going to get rid of the volume. We're going to add PSA 10s. Okay. So PSA 10 silver was selling for, again, we'll go back to May for argument's sake, $1,583, and they're up to about $1,700. So there is a bit of a spike. Obviously, leading up to the NBA season, there's been a lot of videos of Zion looking significantly more fit. He's moving very well, despite missing the entire season last year with an ankle injury, or a foot injury, rather. And so, you know, we can use this kind of information to see, okay, you know, are we just buying into the hype that everyone else is generating, or are we catching the beginning of a curve? I mean, that's up to you to decide. But like I said, this card in August, PSA 10 version, was selling for about $1,448. And ironically enough, that was actually the lowest it's been in the last 6 months. So literally 1 month ago, or 2 months ago rather, this card was closing for the lowest that it's ever closed. It's closed for in the last 6 months. BGS 95, similar situation here, where it was at 270 or 727 rather, versus the 784. Seems pretty consistent. 695 was the low in June, and we're up to about $805. So the 95 is on its way up. The ungraded copy looks like I mean, it's pretty much where it has been as of July, essentially. So yeah, as a general rule of thumb, if you buy players in the off season, so when no one else is talking about them, when people are stacking up on other sports, you're probably going to get a better deal than if you buy them during the season. That is a general rule of thumb that works pretty much across the board with all different sports. So if you're looking to get some deals, uh, these charts show at the very least that if you buy things when no one's talking about them, there is definitely opportunities to profit. And if we zoom out even further, we look at the 1 year trend. These PSA 10s were closing for upwards of $3,000 back in October, and now they're about down to about 1,700. So they're down about 50%. That being said, a good chunk of the market is down 50%. But I just wanted you guys I wanted to introduce you guys to the feature of activating the PSA 10s on the chart, BGS 95s, and we can go one further, activate the 9s, and just using these tools to decide whether or not this is a good buying opportunity, it's a good selling opportunity. Maybe you just want to know where your card is at in relation to what you paid for it. All very legitimate. Team, if you enjoyed this video, please do not hesitate to like, subscribe, comment. The comment section will allow me to create more and more tailored content to what you guys are looking for. So I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you. Thank you so much. This is Sports Card Pro. I'm Coach Co. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. Coach Co is out of here.